GM, Hot Takes and Cold Wallets, episode number 29. We are packed here tonight. We got Umar, Nikita, and Juan from Chain Patrol. Good evening, gentlemen.
Good evening,
Hello,
good morning.
everyone.
Hey.
Please stay in line, guys. How you guys are doing? Hopefully you had a great week so far. Any news on the Chain Patrol side? Who wants to jump in first?
Yeah, I can start us off. I mean, there's a lot going on right now. We're releasing a bunch of really interesting tools. We just started demoing to some people literally today the Chain Patrol CLI. So this is going to be pretty exciting. It basically lets people use everything inside of Chain Patrol, right from their Claude code, whatever you want. Like if you like using something else like ChatGPT, cloud environments, or something else. This is something all our customers, I think, are quite excited about. A lot of people have been asking. And we're thinking soon of actually making some of these parts available to the public as well. So basically, doing some threat hunting, analyzing their block list, getting some threat intel. We're all about making this as accessible to people as possible. So stay tuned for that coming out. And yeah, besides that, I mean, we're just continuing to expand into new industries. Crypto sells a ton of scams, but so does finance, banking, all these other areas. And making good strides there. Maybe we can announce some stuff in the coming weeks. And yeah, that's it for my side. So I'll pass to the team.
Yeah, I got more of the same, I think, from my side in the product and engineering land. I think one thing that I'm hoping to share a little bit later today is a little bit of the project that we worked on at ETH Global, the New York Hackathon. But yeah, I think mostly just been trying to find more innovative ways to use sort of technology. We've been also looking at AI token spend more recently and trying to figure out sort of what's the new meta there. How do we make sure that we're not just blowing through tokens and not getting much value out of them? So I think AI tools are we're kind of growing up now and figuring out what to do.
It's funny, Umar. I think last week we talked about this when we said, if you have a Ferrari and a Toyota, you don't have to take the Ferrari every single time if you move from one place to another. You can just use the Toyota sometimes. So
exactly. I found myself catching myself a couple of times. Oh, rename this file. I was like, oh, I could have just clicked on it.
Yeah, Nikita also said, in one of the last episodes, there's basically repos out there that say, is this an even number, yes or no? Which is is this a joke? We don't know. Juan knows. Juan, what about you? Any updates on your side?
Yeah, I mean, I think we are right now in an impasse of events, and it's actually good because we can start working more in our internal processes. Both Nikita and Omar are doing impressive work here, improving everything that we are doing, automating much more things as possible, and actually trying to get us to the next level when it comes to the new products that we are starting to build out to release to new customers, new clients, and new industries, I would say. So definitely that's really exciting. And yeah, I would say on my part, waiting a little bit for the next big conferences that we're going. We are going to Black Hat in August. That is a really big cybersecurity conference, and then we are going to continue with the crypto events as well. So pretty much waiting for that, but having a really good time also listening here and try to improve as much process as possible. But yeah, really great.
That's a great update from your side. Umar, we talked about ETH Global and we talked about ETH Global New York, and I know you wanted to talk about this for a while. So you built proof of scam, and if I did my research correctly with Smooshy and Morishita, and you three built a tool that is called Proof of Scan, obviously not Proof of Scam. And can you tell the user something about this? What is it? Which kind of use does it have? How does it look like?
Yeah, I can speak a bit to it. First off, yeah, I do want to recognize this was a team project. So myself and two other, one engineer and one of our team members was basically vibe coding for the whole time, and kind of was learning a bunch of technical topics in crypto as well for the first time. We all built this project together, and what it is, so Proof of Scan is our take on crowdsourcing sort of threat intelligence. One of the problems that we have as a brand protection company, but many other security researchers in this space run into this, is that scammers are getting good at hiding themselves, and they like to use different cloaking techniques. Some of them are known to us, some of them are not. And it's really hard for us to kind of do our jobs to know if something is, malicious, or if it's just someone spinning up a fun website, if we can't see what that thing is. And this is a kind of a problem that exists across the board in cybersecurity, and there are tools out there that we can use to scan websites. URL Scan is one of the biggest ones that is well known in the community, and the problem there, though, is that it's one centralized entity. They're doing their best to try to cover as many use cases as possible, but especially for crypto use cases, there's things just move so fast. And so our take was, okay, the best thing that we can do is actually see what the user sees. And that's kind of where the idea for crowdsourcing came from.
Umar, you said cloaking. Can you explain this a bit more to the non-technical listener, maybe?
For sure, yeah. So cloaking is basically different techniques that a phishing website or attack might use to basically hide its true intent. So, for example, if I'm visiting a website that's a phishing website, and if I visit it from a Canadian IP or a US IP, it might take me, if I type it in my browser, scamsite.com or phishingsite.com, phishing.site, it might take me to a benign page. It might just redirect me to Google. It might show me a random blog about cats or something. But if I visit that website, say in Europe or in Asia or some other location, then it will actually show me some completely different content, and that might be malicious. We actually built our own testing page to show this. Maybe I can demonstrate this by presenting a little bit.
Just one technical question before we get into too deep. Nikita, is this kind of comparable to a drainer kit where you basically are too poor to be drained sometimes?
Yeah, exactly. That's the kind of idea. That's just one example of cloaking. There's a lot of other simple ones where, they only target people that click on a certain Google ad. If you go to the website, it just doesn't. It shows you a blank page or a cooking blog post. But if you click on the Google ad, that thing has a little Google ad ID attached to it. And what they do is they check on their own side, okay, do you have this kind of password, basically? And if you have that, they will, show you the real scam content. Now, it's a very simple technique, but is actually very effective and very hard from a scanner's perspective to figure out what is that, password, or what is that way to show the real content. And that's why it's really important to be able to see things from a user's perspective, ideally. That's also why community reports are so important too, is that, when a community member reports something, they saw a scam, they have the full link or the full path of how they got to that scam.
Yeah, and I can demonstrate this visually a bit. We built this site called phishing.site. You can even visit it on your own. And it kind of demonstrates this property a little bit. So, for example, we have different pages that will cloak different ways. So this one is going to use your country flag to determine where you're located. So for me, it's showing up as Canada. If you visit it, I won't dox anyone's other locations, but you'll show up something different there.
Are you screen sharing, Umar?
I am. I hope it comes through.
Maybe Mike has to change the
The
settings.
screen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But okay, I can explain a little bit more in the meantime. So yeah, there's geolocation-based cloaking. You mentioned about checking your wallet to see if your wallet address is like low balance or not interesting. The other things that people can do is based off of where you clicked a link to go to the site. So if you clicked a link from a Google ad, or if you clicked the link coming from Twitter or Facebook, they can actually target, know exactly that information using metadata that's coming along with your link click, and basically say, okay, if people are coming from Twitter or from Facebook ad or something like that, show them the malicious content. Otherwise, show them something that looks pretty benign.
Okay, so for like my pretty basic understanding, it's pretty dynamic and therefore it's pretty hard to catch, right?
Exactly. Yeah. It's always like really challenging. And the other really difficult part of this is that there are legitimate use cases for cloaking and legitimate cases for geofencing content, right? So you can't just say like, oh, if the site behaves differently, it's a scam. You have to really use that just to unblock it and then see what might be down the road. But yeah, I think we're having some technical difficulties, so I'll try to keep it a bit more high level, just about what we did a bit throughout the week, and then throughout the weekend, and then I'd love to discuss some more. But so yeah, Proof of Scan, we built it at ETH Global, New York, and then we basically built it on top of the Sui blockchain and leveraged the tools that were there with storage, with Walrus and other tools there. Some of the key things that like we were able to leverage there is like, one, anyone can submit a request. You don't have to be a security researcher. And also anyone can actually solve a request or complete a job. So you can run what we call a scan node, which basically accepts jobs from this escrow contract. It basically says, hey, I can do this job. I'm going to spin up a browser, visit the website, take a screenshot, grab all the website contents, and then upload it to decentralized storage. And if they do the job well, then they get rewarded a portion of the work. And if you do that enough, I think across different devices, geographies, you can start to see very interesting patterns that you wouldn't be able to see if you were just trying to visit yourself. And we also, there was a couple of interesting problems that come out of that as well, but I can get into those a little bit more detail if you guys have any questions. Oh, there we go. Okay, this is a site. Okay, maybe I can show this quickly. So yeah, this is a site that when I visit it, it can give you different examples of how to cloak. This one's based off of geography. If I like use a VPN, switch around, maybe I can.
Do we want to start the countdown when we are losing Umar?
Oh no, that definitely did. But I'm back.
You're back. Yeah.
I've teleported to the States. So that's one example. There's also like based off of mobile. I'm on desktop. It shows me a cat, and on mobile, if I kind of simulate that mobile device and refresh this, you'll see it's a devil. So these are all techniques that you can use, and it's pretty easy to replicate this. And yeah, so we submitted this out on and built out sort of a live dashboard that anyone can visit. They can connect up their wallet. For example, I have a Slush wallet that I can connect to. I can submit a job, and then once I submit a job, I can download the results here. So for example, here, this phishing site I visited. Another interesting part of this is that we did use some crypto tools to kind of verify that the person scanning the website hasn't tampered with what the website host actually delivered to them. And this is super important because we want to make sure that no one can game the system. So we're using some proofs about over the TLS connection. Without getting into too many details, it lets us basically cryptographically verify that no one tampered with that content.
Was there a specific problem, Humar, that made you realize like something like proof of scan is needed?
Well, for us at scale, I think we just saw lots and lots of websites that were using tools like Cloudflare. That was one of the main examples that we've seen. People will put one of these security verification challenges, and those are very hard to scan at scale unless you have like a direct relationship with Cloudflare or any of these other captcha providers. It's very hard to kind of get past that. And so if we decentralize and get more of the wisdom of the crowd, our theory was that like we can solve this problem more efficiently and essentially take advantage of the latent the goodwill of people in the community.
Are there specific takeaways you had when like building a security focused product, site, project, whatever like this during a hackathon?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing was just like how many people, I was kind of surprised how many people had run into scams in their past and have been, especially in crypto, like it's pretty common if you meet someone, especially in this like community and people go to hackathons. We were like, I was surprised that people would understand this problem because most people like in security research, like they're used to people not understanding what they're saying for the majority of the time. But when people understood like, oh yeah, I visited this scam and then like a few hours later it was gone, or like I sent it to my friend and he couldn't see the website, and they're like, what happened? And everyone's just kind of just scratching their head about what's happening. And until you realize that this kind of cloaking mechanism exists, and then it starts to kind of all make sense.
Is there any plans for the future to maintain this, like even under the umbrella of Chain Patrol or something?
Yeah, I think so. I think like we built this as something that we would want to use ourselves. There are a couple of things that we do need to clean up. It is a hackathon project after all. So we probably want to deploy this to mainnet. Right now it's just on testnet. And then the other part is that from a rewards mechanism, how do we make sure that people can't we figured out how to prevent people from tampering with the system, but how do you prevent people from spinning up sites that are interesting to scan phishing sites or whatever it might be. You run into this thing called the Cobra effect. If you've never heard of it, it's like if it's a folk story. I don't know if it's real, but back in the days they incentivized people to basically cull cobras. There was an epidemic in India, and they basically started giving out rewards for every dead cobra they brought to the system. And what people started doing was farming cobras so that they could basically collect more rewards. And you run into a similar challenge here. It's like, how do you prevent a bad actor, or maybe just someone who's motivated to spin up fake sites and then collect the reward and the bounty? So that's the big challenge. And I think the economics and like, I would want to talk to some more social engineering kind of experts to figure out sort of how do we balance that.
You guys were finalists with this project. I forgot to mention that in the intro. So does that kind of like underpin that there's like a certain demand for projects like this?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, at least within this community, I think there's certainly a clear need for more security tools and applications of blockchain that leverage its unique properties. I think there were a lot of excitement. Even Kartik, who's the leader of ETH Global, he said on stage after our presentation that like, oh wow, this is like the first like useful application I've seen of TLS Notary at scale. So that was in the live stream. You can check back what he said. But yeah, I think it's like when we can take these technologies and use them for something that kind of actually leverages their unique value then I think it's a good thing. It's a good thing. Technology, not all technology is good, but good technology I think tends to get used well, and if it's used well, I think we can actually help people.
So ETH Global was hosted in New York, Umar. And before we wrap this topic, I just wanted to ask again, like New York, there were certain other things going on in New York at that time. So what's the nicest memory you took with you, like apart from the project?
Gosh, yeah. I mean, so that weekend was also the Friday that we had started was the IPO of SpaceX. So there was a lot of activity happening in Manhattan area and stuff like that, and people talking about, especially Lower Manhattan, about the IPO and sort of the implications of that. First trillionaire in the world, I guess. There was also a lot of people hyped up for the Knicks. It was game 5, I believe. They were facing the San Antonio Spurs, and the city was like electric, all lit up in orange and blue, and people were very passionate and proud of their New Yorker heritage. The first time they won. I don't know. I'm not a sports nut, but it's been a very long time coming.
57 years or something, I think.
Yeah, it's crazy. But yeah, it was amazing, and we weren't in Manhattan when they won, so we kind of didn't get caught up too much in the crowds and the burning bus. But we were able to see kind of and celebrate with people locally, and yeah, it was a really great time to be in New York. Definitely felt like, hey, this is a spot. Crypto is global, and security and all the stuff that we talk about is really global. But when you can be in certain places at the right times, I think you can. There's nothing like it, and I think that's the biggest thing. Is like we gotta try to make the most of the moments that you're in. I guess that's my philosophical advice for everyone.
I think that was a perfect timing for your event, the project, the events all around. And I think that was just like, nailed it, Umar, you nailed it. Nikita, to loop you back into this, we're jumping from New York to Greece because Binance failed to achieve the MiCA compliance regulatory license. And I've been making like a funny video about that on X today, which is like just an AI generated song where it's like the Greek Taverna song about, hey, Binance, you broke up with me after 2 years, basically. And Binance, they kind of said like, hey, we are not moving forward with Greece after trying for 2 years to get like regulatory clarity in Greece. And they are saying that they are trying to get another European state to be the host of their license, because on July 1st in Europe, where I am, you gotta have some MiCA compliance. If you do not have that, you are not allowed to like onboard new users, do stuff like staking, etc. And I just wanted to clarify right here that yes, it's not really great for the users of Binance EU, but there's not like an immediate way you need to like withdraw your funds, or you need to get out of Binance ASAP, because you can still like transfer stuff in and out. You just are like not allowed to, as I said, like stake or trade or spot, etc. again. And they gotta figure out where they are moving in Europe pretty fast, because otherwise they probably will get left behind, Nikita, or?
Yeah, I mean, compliance is a big topic right now. I think everybody's trying to understand, how do we get, every exchange eventually they need to expand globally, right? And Europe is definitely a large market there, and we need to understand how. I think the thing I really like about Europe is they typically do push quite a bit on, getting large organizations to kind of like treat the users well. In most cases, there are not all the time, but I'd be interesting to see like why they seem to have they think they have failed, because sometimes I think and also I would ask like how much does like politics play into this too, because like Binance is seen as a bit of like a foreign like exchange, and so is there I hope there isn't like protectionism and this kind of stuff going on, but who knows? Like I honestly haven't read into that one as much yet to make like a super well informed comment. But other exchanges have been able to, get these kinds of, have past compliance. So I think there's probably a path forward for them. So I hope it's just like, do you know how long, like, is it like, okay, they can just retry, or is it like a whole new process? Like, what does that mean for Binance, I guess?
I mean, it took them 2 years with Greece, but apparently,
Right.
if you read like between the lines, people are saying like if you try to get like a license in Greece, it's like the slowest country you can try in Europe. So hopefully for Binance, it will not take another 2 years. But I don't think that they will gonna make it like next week or something. So they probably will
Mhm.
not be cutting like the deadline, which is interesting, like because they had the time, but apparently they said like, yeah, it's too much. We can't really deal with that. There's too much in the way, and we're gonna be trying somewhere else. I mean, Europe has some other stuff like Malta, etc. Right? So we have some regulatorily good blue
Yeah.
oceans, if you will, but it's gonna be complicated still for them just to switch everything over now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just want to add that, yeah, definitely compliance in exchanges is like a topic that we haven't touched too much in these like podcasts generally, but it's like a really big topic and it's like a really interesting topic, I would say, because I noticed that some exchanges when they're like asked to have like these regulations, for example, like Mexi is one of them. Actually, like they were promoting themselves as a non-KYC exchange, and when they had like all these different regulations, MiCA regulations like Europe and different others, one thing that they did that there is a lot of people actually complaining about this is that they set up like obligatory KYC for users that they promote that they can do pretty much spot changes on the exchange. And right now, if you don't do like a KYC with them, you pretty much have like your funds locked in. So this kind of regulation actually is forcing different exchanges to have like measures like this. And for me, the question always rises like, is it something that exchanges can see how they filter this out or how they manage these situations? Or is it something that they just do it that way because they want to actually have users having issues trying to get their funds out of the platform because they want to have like more liquidity from themselves and different reasons that can be of this. So definitely it's a really interesting topic, and a lot of exchanges here in Argentina as well have like gone to the same kind of thing that they have like local authorities and they also file for like local entities in the place because they were asked to. But that also puts their users in these locations in a different situation when it comes to like information that this exchange is released to the I don't know the fiscal the fiscal thing that you have in your country or different things. So definitely it's like a really interesting topic. I would love to bring eventually the one exchange compliance manager to talk about like, all the different topics. But it's like a big issue, and I think Binance had like this specific problem with this that they were able to sort it out in a really easy way, right?
Yeah, what's interesting is USDT, Tether, they also don't have MiCA compliance in EU. So they kind of be like leaving the European market. At least you cannot really exchange it on the European exchanges anymore, which are MiCA compliant. So it's interesting, like interesting design choices. You would think that like the European market is big enough for some players like Tether to be playing in, but apparently they said, nah, we're not gonna be obeying to all these regulatory changes that we need to make, and yeah, it's their choice. I think they should be fine without it, but it's interesting anyway. Nikita, I just wanted to ask you because obviously, and it's not really an incident, but like an event like this happening across like Binance users all of Europe. This is gonna be like a scammer's paradise, right? They're gonna be like firing out those
Yeah.
emails and saying like, "Hey, you need to migrate your account right now, or you're gonna be screwed."
Yeah, anytime like news like this happens, I think teams need to now be very actively looking at like what is their like comm strategy around this. And this is something we talk to a lot of our customers about, right? Every time you have a big announcement yourself, this is like a not that they announced it, but it's just like a big piece of news related to your company. This is used as a trigger for the scammers to create new. They now can easily make new campaigns, completely new like templated emails, like if I was a scammer, I'd have this running the next like hour already, like ready to go live. And so that's a real issue. And so I do think part of the brand protection work, and also just part of like protecting your users from scams, is being very aware of like what is like the surface level news surrounding your company, and what is kind of like the top of mind for people around what's happening on the internet related to Binance, related to Coinbase, related to any other kind of exchange or brand, because all of that will be used in targeting your users. And so for us, like now we could like create a rule that specifically looks for these kinds of attacks, right? That specifically looks for sites that mention this Mika issue, and because those could be actually phishing campaigns, right? Not legitimate news sites. And so it makes a great way of essentially it does put you in a good spot of being able to say like, okay, like we have new data, we have a way to catch the scammers. You just need to know what to look for. And it's actually interesting because like in this area, security and marketing teams kind of have to collaborate together, which is not something that happens very often. But in a lot of the calls we have, actually, we do have the security lead and the marketing lead together in the same call working on this, which is actually like, I'll have to see that.
Yeah, I think that at the moment there's confusion, and confusion is basically the most common way where a scammer says, hey, somebody's confused, I'm gonna take advantage of that. And hopefully this doesn't happen with the Binance users. But just if you listen to this, and if you're like a Binance Europe user right now, just know that there's no like immediate danger to withdraw all your funds, etc. So do not migrate or whatever. Just stay calm and wait for official comms. We're gonna be talking about one more tactic scammers use, and this is compromised and impersonated accounts. Nikita, we've seen the Gnosis account getting compromised today, and I don't know what happened there yet, but we just like saw like the alerts going off left and right, and people were saying like, hey, the main Gnosis account has been taken over. And we have been talking about this in the past, obviously, like with impersonators or even like phished main accounts. But can you just like let the users know what's the real danger if your team account gets compromised?
Yeah, well, I mean, the main problem is like, people are somewhat aware now of, don't click on unofficial accounts. But when the scam comes from your official account, what are you going to do about that, right? And so, one, it's hard to recover these accounts. And two, it's something that, actually like, your users trust your main account, right? They're used to like announcements coming out. They're used to clicking the link. And so that can lead to a ton more drains. Thankfully, like us and other security like groups within crypto now often monitor these accounts, and we blocklist the links immediately across like MetaMask and like Phantom and other wallets. And that helps a lot with these kinds of issues. And so, we're on top of it, like, blocklisting these. One thing actually to mention is there are some new ways to get, that can help with recovery. So we'll make sure that we can support these companies going forward, is that, we're able to look at some of these cases and help recover the accounts faster as well. So that's something we should actually get actively involved in. Yeah.
You guys also shared 2 tweets today about the World Cup, with the US soccer team being impersonated and Rockstar Games being impersonated, which is like the perfect storm, because like Rockstar is launching the GTA 6 pre-order event, and the World Cup stuff, I mean, who hasn't seen a World Cup game in 2026? So the US boys are being impersonated as well. Good job on that end. Any like threats you see there which are commonly used, Nikita, which are like not the same as in crypto maybe?
Well, a lot of individual kind of I guess competitors or like soccer players get impersonated quite a bit. Anybody with like a big following, they're like an influencer essentially, right? And so when you're an influencer, you get a lot of impersonations targeting you. So that's I would say is like the main thing there, is that we see a lot of individuals being used, and they're like their likeness being used to impersonate various yeah, just to target the fans, right? Have we seen a ton of FIFA specific ones? Actually, we haven't run a scan on that just yet, so I need to take a look. But I do know that individual players get impersonated a ton.
Yeah, what I've seen personally is a lot of like fake live stream links, scams where someone wants to like see the FIFA game, but they're searching on the web to see like they can find a stream. I've also seen a lot of people announcing like fake partnerships with FIFA and other things like that. And FIFA actually lists on their website all of their partners that you can kind of compare with to double check this. But it's also kind of chaotic and disorganized in World Cup in general, right? So I think anytime there's an event, anytime there's something notable happening in the world, I kind of just look at the trending topics on like X and like on different feeds. Anything there is going to likely become a subject of a scam attack, and like trying to either do phishing or give off some fake offers. And we know that like this is not like a easy problem to solve, because you're always when you're writing trends, you're always like in front of new people, and so the people who already have like inside information that know like they have dealt with this before, they're going to be okay, I think, for the most part. But it's like the regular people. We started this company, like jokingly, I said with Nikita and Vito, it's like we're starting this company around Chain Patrol to help make sure that my grandmother doesn't get scammed, right? And like if ad block is off on my grandma's computer, she's definitely clicked on a couple things, and I've had conversations with her. It's like, no, you're not buying this like air conditioner little unit with like a little ice thing, it's like a scam. And I had to really convince her. But anyways, I think that's my only fear, is that like we can help, but I think it is an uphill battle.
And Nikita, I was gonna ask that question because like if we compare like the Web3 audience to the Web2 audience when it comes to being educated around techniques when it comes to scams and phishing and all that, I'm pretty sure that like the average World Cup game user is pretty oblivious to scam accounts and scam attempts happening on social media, aren't they?
Yeah, I would say, well, I mean, a lot of people get like, the SMS, the people know like the fake, like, delivery stuff on your phone. And that's mostly what people know about. They know about like scammy emails, but I don't think most people realize just how targeted they can be. As we've went into new industries, I had to say, like, even though there's a lot of scams that happen in crypto, like, there has been so much effort on user education that some of it has actually broken through, and there's a lot more like awareness of these issues here. The downside is that there's still also a lot of FOMO in crypto, and so there's just still a lot of people like turning their own security mechanisms off because they think there's like some opportunity to be had on the other side of that link. What I would say there is that, yeah, most people are really not aware of this at all as like a problem. And many people can be guided very easily into issues like this, like, the FIFA, things that impersonate FIFA and like others. But, I think I mentioned this one time before, but I was talking to a credit union, to a person that handles fraud at a credit union, and he was explaining how like, a scammer reaches out, like, and guides someone to daily withdraw thousands of dollars, leading up to like hundreds of thousands of dollars, like lost for that person. And it's literally like they're opening that account up every day and withdrawing those funds. It's not like I clicked one link and I got drained. They're doing it over the course of weeks. And people underestimate the sophistication of the scammers and what they can really do once they've like deeply entrenched themselves in your layer of trust, I would say.
Yeah, and part of these scams and phishing attempts, they are run by people who are forced to scam people. This is like
Yeah.
another thing we have been talking about for a while, and now the trailer is out for the documentary for Lights in Dark Rooms. Nikita, Juan, Umar, maybe even all of you, was there any feedback for the trailer you guys received, and was there anything that you guys found surprising, maybe regarding the feedback?
I want people to see it for themselves for sure. I think there's a lot of stuff to take away there, but I mean, in terms of the, I've seen the full thing, and I'm not gonna spoil anything, but it's. I think people just don't realize the scale of like this problem of what is actually happening on the other side. It depends where you live, but like mostly in like areas of like Southeast Asia and like others, like it's just insane. It's whole cities be like when people imagine a scam compound, I'm thinking before this, I imagined maybe like a building, or part of like a condo or something, right? But this is an entire city that is being operated, and there's many of them that are essentially built to host the people that are both running the operation. They're literally like either kidnapping or human trafficking people, and all the victims that are running the scams. There's torture rooms. There's all this stuff that is just like, it's honestly quite horrible. It's like just to see what's happening. Also, how little resources there is going towards helping the victims. It's a lot of NGOs running this on like very limited budgets. Like the amount they're able to do, given how much funding they have, is quite incredible. And yeah, I just hope it opens people's eyes to like the level of the problem. I think that's the main thing we hope to accomplish with the documentary, is like open people's eyes to the problem, and hopefully support these NGOs, and also as security companies see what part we can play in ending this, versus just curing helping with the symptoms versus like some of the root causes of what's causing these attacks. So yeah, that's my take on it.
We know we got Mike here from the tech side of things, and we all wanted to see the trailer of the documentary. So Mike, if you are here and if you got this thing ready, let's show it to the world live on stream. Let's see what happens.
There's a massive amount of money being moved through cryptocurrency for illicit gain.
We're simply transporting the problem. We're simply exporting the problem. From Southeast Asia, they're just transferring to other countries.
We hear about modern day slavery.
When we go to the compound, it was like we are being sold.
He told me, you are here to scam, and if you don't do it, you're gonna die in this place. He called this guy called Zilong.
Slap us, and they beat us, they kick us, choke us from there.
They're all over the place. A good number of them were not even hiding.
They are very grateful for the most part to be out of the scamming compound, but these people are highly traumatized.
What is the criteria for action? Is it the number of people impacted?
Countries that are victims to this, where their citizens are suffering, need to play a major role to bring this on the table.
Yeah, crazy. That brings some dark energy with it, I would say. Like, could be a trailer for a Call of Duty game or something, to be honest, which is
Yeah,
quite depressing, honestly.
I got chills a couple times watching it again. Yeah,
Yeah.
there's certainly like some very dark parts to the story, and I think we're hoping to bring some of that to light, and then turn some of that energy towards something productive and protective for the community. I think a lot of it was mentioned, that quote in the beginning there, but like the problem was just being transported and exported and moved along. And I think that's unfortunate that we're just kind of like, oh, it's not my problem, I'll solve it here, but they're just going to move on to another area. And I think we see that a lot as on the more tech side. We kind of see the scammers jump around different campaigns, different things, but to see it from the human factor, it's like, it's another thing. Like, I can't really speak to it too much more. It's really hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Nikita said, like the sheer amount of buildings and all that, it shows you how much of a industry that kind of operation is, which is quite shocking because obviously most of us probably think like, hey, it's some hacker chilling in the basement or whatever, but this is not the case. Like the scale of which this happens is insane and pretty shocking. Nikita, is there anything you can share regarding the documentary that's what's next?
Well, that's in the works, I would say. We want to put this out in a way that is like maximally available to everybody, and also really has a strong bang. Like, we want this to really go out and get in front of a lot of people that can actually make this, look at this and take it seriously, and understand, like, hopefully in front of like policymakers, in front of like federal agencies, in front of security companies, like other security company CEOs. Like, we want this to really have an impact on the industry, and so there's there's a careful rollout of that to do that appropriately, because we really think this can have a major impact on the awareness around this problem and what we as an industry do about it, really.
Yeah, it's certainly a topic we're gonna be bringing back more often, even though we approach episode number 30, which will officially mark our summer break for the series 1 of the Hot Takes and Cold Wallets podcast. Just a very quick recap for the shows so far. Nikita, Juan, maybe you have been here the most. Is there anything that surprised you, which we have been like covering during the whole shows again and again and again? Like the landscape, did it change in any way that you weren't expecting when we started the show?
That's a great question. I would say that I learned a lot during these episodes. Like, we had like great guests that were like specialists in everything that they did, and I learned a lot. Like, I don't know, like from the wallet side of things, the experts we got, wallets invited, invites that were like part of marketing teams, invites that were part of the technical side of things. So all these different things, I think, compounding a really good learning experience. Like, everybody that wants to see the recordings of all these episodes are like available on YouTube right now. That's also a good note to make that we are not disappearing from here. And yeah, definitely I learned a lot from all of these. And I would say my biggest takeaway on the podcast is that we are never secure. Things evolve, and we need to move faster if we want to combat this accordingly.
Yeah, I would say on my side, there have been a little bit less big smart contract security hacks. We've done. I think those have gone down for a bit, and there was like a little spike, and now it's like hopefully quiet for a little while. Maybe the people on that focus on that area of security will get to sleep for once. I hope we've made an impact on people's understanding that in crypto you have to go just beyond just also beyond just the smart contract security. There's good dents there, but like a lot of the hacks are due to like now individual like dev compromises or phishing or supply chain attacks too as well. So I hope we made an impact on that. Like if that's like the one takeaway from all 30 episodes, like, and I think we've done our job. So yeah, I think just like looking at like a holistic approach to security rather than only like zeroing in on the smart contract piece, I would say.
Yeah, I think we also gave a platform to many people which aren't really seen much on the timelines or in other interviews. So we had very great minds on the show. Maybe we're gonna see some of them back in episode number 30 for a quick recap or something. Just teasing a bit here, but yeah, episode number 30, as said, will be the official summer break, but that's next week. And for now, I wanted to thank you guys for your time. It was a great show today. Time flew by. We're gonna see us sometime. I don't know if next week, but we're gonna see us sometime for sure. Thank you for taking the time, Nikita, Juan Umar. Have a great one and talk to you soon. Bye bye.
Thank you.